The Bund in Shanghai is probably the most significant reminder of Western influence in China. But then there are places like Piano Island, as it's called, just off the coast of the mainland. Now China's striving to have it placed on the United Nations World Heritage List, but that's proving an uphill battle because people are leaving in droves, taking with them the culture that has defined the island. China correspondent Wei Fern Tai reports from Fujian province.
It's a Friday evening, but the tourists are still spilling off the ferry for a weekend on one of China's most popular island retreats. Gulangyu used to be the home of the privileged, in particular diplomats and wealthy overseas Chinese families who settled here over 150 years ago. But the old money is long gone. These days, Gulangyu is a playground for China's newly minted middle class.
You
can enjoy the best of both worlds on Gulangyu. There's no traffic noise, no pollution from factories, no tension from the modern way of living.
Gulangyu has a unique place in China's history. After the Opium Wars in the 1800s, parts of China were carved up by colonial powers, and the island became a foreign concession. The English, Japanese, and 11 other countries set up consulates, churches, and hospitals. It was during that time that the island's rich musical traditions were formed. Pianos were features in the homes of the elite, and informal recitals were commonplace, earning Gulangyu the nickname Piano Island. The island authorities paint a romantic picture of Gulangyu, a vision captured in this song that's about reunification with Taiwan, which is visible from this part of China. It's the only song ever performed in the Piano Museum. Now, in an effort to preserve the rich traditions here, the island's management has set its sights on having Gulangyu put on the UNESCO Cultural Heritage List. The man who's been appointed to manage the bid for UNESCO listing is Cao Fang.
Gulangyu was a joint foreign concession. Westerners and Chinese lived on the island. The most difficult thing now is the preservation work.
But it's Gulangyu's popularity that also poses a threat to its future and preservation. Tourism is now the economic lifeblood of the island, with some 20,000 visitors coming every day. During peak season, the crowds swell to up to 5 times that number. But the sheer numbers of people on an island that takes only 40 minutes to walk around has made living on Gulangyu less attractive.
This is the tallest peak on Gulangyu, and in the past people used to come here not only to admire the scenery, but also to enjoy some peace and quiet. But as you can see, tranquility is a thing of the past.
Only about 6,000 people now live on the island. 62-year-old Bai Yi was born here, but moved away 20 years ago. He left not because of overcrowding, but to take advantage of better opportunities on the mainland.
Actually, I really wanted to remain on Gulangyu, but I left because I had just gotten married and the place we were living in at the time was very cramped. That's why I moved to Xiamen.
It's a story Cao Feng has heard before.
The standard of living on Xiamen has surpassed that of Gulangyu's. Besides, it's a historical trend for this island's residents to move there or to go abroad. That's why we have to maintain an open mind, but this doesn't necessarily spell the end of Gulangyu.
But Gulangyu's dwindling population is a worry for authorities and could affect their bid for UNESCO status. As the original inhabitants leave, they take with them the musical tradition of the island, its identity. What is left now are informal recitals being kept alive by a handful of residents and former residents like Bai Yi. He's part of a small group that's been organizing intimate musical performances on the island every month.
我记得应承中曾讲过一句话。
I remember a famous Chinese pianist once said that the residents of Gulangyu don't need to be taught how to sing in harmony. They are born with it because that's what they've been exposed to from a very young age in church.
Authorities have big plans to maximize their chances of getting the UNESCO listing. Conservation and repair work can be seen in pockets of the island. They intend to make Gulangyu a more livable place once again. First of all, by limiting the number of tourists on shore. They also want to revive the culture of creativity that once produced some of the country's most well-known artists. But few underestimate the size of the task.
If the living environment changed for the better, then maybe people would return. But the young have to consider their career prospects, so they may not return. This place is more like a residential area. Transportation is inconvenient too.
Gulangyu's traditions are being kept alive, but the living history of the island is aging or moving away. And a UNESCO listing won't preserve the sounds that won this island a unique place in Chinese history.